heart over to the crowd too. That's pretty fun, seeing everyone back, the interactions with the fans. And so far, same bans, slightly different picks, of course. Olleh going to be grabbing the Leona away from Isles. So perhaps their read is we just needed more go buttons. We didn't need to be as defensive with the Braum, have the ability to play it more aggressive. Oh, Caitlyn Lux. Okay, so this is really what Isles is known for, is his range supports. He's played a lot of range supports in Academy and has been quite effective on them. That is, when you talk to people in Academy, they will say, yeah, he can play the melees, but it's about the range supports for him. He has a 100% win rate, 4-0 on the Lux in Academy. A lot of Karma Games has played, Yuumi, Lulu, etc. as well. So they are looking to go lane dominant. This is a new look for Cloud9, who has not really been doing this. Jhin as the pick to neutralize, often an answer used there into Caitlyn. But it's going to be difficult because Leona, unless you can find that engage the 100-0, you're going to get poked out, you're going to get chipped away on, you're expecting them to get pushed. And again, Cloud9 playing more heavily towards bot side. Last game they did this with the MF, with Comet. Now it's going to be about the Caitlyn Lux. So it seems that is really what they're trying to change up here, playing more heavily for that 2v2 bot. Will Golden Guardians just blind Ornn again? They banned the GP, so Ryze is left up, so Fudge does have the ability. That's the only ban that they have actually changed throughout all 5 is the GP. And they're gonna say, all right, maybe we run it back, but we see if you have another answer beyond the GP, because GP is a great answer into blind tanks that isn't a hard commit to split push, can help your team cross map as well.
Well, and the fact that Cloud9 brought out the Gangplank during game 1 makes you wonder just how much they have dug into that champ pool for Summit, something that we haven't seen as frequently here within the LCS. Porky banned away here too from the Cloud9 side.
So one change really on both sides. It's just banning out one solo laner from last game on both teams. You could go your blind Ornn here once again if you want, but do they have the confidence to do that after the previous game? Instead, they're going to take the Viktor away from Fudge. They are going to 5th pick top, so it isn't necessarily going to be a tank. But if it's a blind AD champ, you could go a different route with the tanks. You could go towards Malphite. You can obviously still go towards Ornn, or even something like the Scion. There are tanky options if Licorice wants to continue doing that. Fudge, this would be a very different look. I mean, this would make their comp, I think, much more mid-game focused, much more early-game focused. To me, this already feels like you want something that's fine playing solo on the top side, and you want to play heavily through mid with Elise and LeBlanc, and utilize that to get prio there, move into the enemy jungle, move down towards bot side, look to pull off dives. It is going to be C9 with the blind Ornn here, so if Golden Guardians not willing to pull the trigger on it, this is a great pick for Summit, because this is very clearly a team that wants to play mid-bot.
And this puts so much power into the hands of Berserker and Fudge, with GG coming through with their last lock in here. It went up. So a bit of a reversal in where you are looking for that priority come through. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think, they're trying to play obviously towards bot side and Cloud9 side. For Golden Guardians, I do think you still want to play through top, but I think it's difficult to do what they did to Summit last game with the Nocturne when you're playing with a Gwen and you're playing into the Ornn. The Ornn is so tanky. But Golden Guardians are going to have to play sides, to be able to win in a comp like this, to be able to get Gwen ahead. If Gwen can get ahead, you play heavily through side, you shadow the Gwen with your Nocturne, you look to try to pull off 2v1 dives, 2v1 plays. For Cloud9, with the Ornn being brought in, that gives them engage, that gives them 5v5, and they have incredible zone control around objectives. Loosen Singularity, set up your traps, make them face check into you, will be very difficult for Golden Guardians to do.
Can Golden
All 5 Cloud9 heading straight towards bot lane. So I think it's going to be a play towards the bot side brush to try to play for vision. Often it's very important to actually have control of those side lane brushes when you are playing melee versus range. So Cloud9 are going to do a 5-man stack here. Golden Guardians going to do a 5-man stack of their own. So if Cloud9 is to move up, that would go very bad for them, but I don't think Cloud9 has any intention of it. So they start sweeper, they move in. They were expecting a ward here, but do they check the brush? Do they check the brush with a singular? They're gonna face check!
The Zenith play right there into the back, and the damage starts to rain down. Olleh already having to burn the flash away because the ignite was used. No one's killed just yet. Licorice backed on out. So everyone was saying, okay, a little hot here on the money. Do we want to go for more? A flash ushered in by the Q here, but no first blood just yet.
All right, so give me some late recalls. Fudge is going to stay around. They're going to try to stop this recall here. Oh, he hits him!
Flutter connects onto Licorice.
He can't take
Does
it.
he fall through? No.
No, you can't take that. Licorice should have his dash, and if you go into 3 there, you probably die, but it's still really big. He stops his recall. This means that Licorice is either going to miss XP or he has to TP to actually catch all the experience. If you look at the minimap, you know, how far back he is, he's actually going to ghost the lane. So he's putting that much value. You know, look where Summit is. Summit is going to get there in time. And Licorice is not willing to commit the TP. I actually kind of like this choice. I think people would be quick to meme on it a little bit, but the early experience is very important. And I'd prefer he keeps his teleport, because if you get pushed out of lane one time and you don't have that TP, it's very, very rough. So really interesting start. We got to kind of take stock. No sums on either support. That is a key factor. But no flash on Pridestalker, and now, of course, no flash on Summit, no ghost on Licorice. So, you know, will they be able to take advantage is the question. I do think Golden Guardians comes out worse in this unless you can early gank with Nocturne, which is a hard ask, because Leona with no sums can't threaten any sort of engage in the 2v2, which means Lux and Caitlyn just play with no respect to Leona. You play in their face, you look to poke them out, you look to zone them off, because I don't think they can pull off any sort of an all-in with no ignite.
As you said in Champ Select for Golden Guardians, a lot of the story would be about Pridestalker paying that attention towards the side lanes, but it becomes a bit more narrow in what you can do when those early resources were expelled. And
yeah.
Here's Summit and Licorice, that top lane face-off that we were watching game one, has a different look this time because Licorice is on the Gwen looking for those heavy hits.
I mean, Licorice just clapped him in the early lane. Summit was playing really disrespectful. He was trying to get, you know, melee CS there. You know, instead of just actually last hitting with his Q and waiting for it to push, he was trying to play more aggressively forward to be actually able to pick up all of that farm. Wasn't able to drop any minions, or wasn't willing to drop any minions, I should say. As a result, we'll have to expend the teleport very early. It's a poor early buy, it's refillable, but it's Ornn, so it doesn't really matter because you can build the items in lane. Licorice will get a free recall though, and doesn't have to spend the teleport. So Licorice, that's the kind of advantage he gets from that strong early trading.
And Pridestalker clearing over towards that top side, Blaber making his way as well. Another interesting note, we talked about the fact that so much more of the focus is on Fudge and Berserker during this particular game, and it makes me think of on Hotline League when Papa Smithy was on there saying that he believes the person who can change the entire context of the game is Fudge. We saw it in game number 1. We see him with even more firepower here in game number 2. So collecting what he can offer alongside Berserker can be great for Cloud9 as long as not too much is lost over on this top side where Licorice has been putting the pressure, but the XP is in Summit's favor from those earlier moments, so he'll just get him shoved right back.
And when you have a fat wave there, like all those range minions, you can't really trade back into it as Licorice because there was like 6-7 range minions. They'll just do so much damage, so it does allow Ornn to trade aggressively. Fudge here around mid lane. Blaber is beside him when we saw that vision get toggled off. So they are going to look for the chains, won't connect, so that's going to be all you can really get from that trade. You just try to proc the electrocute, but back here on this bottom side, it was actually better CSing from Lost, so he did have a bit of a better early buy. It was just the longsword picked up from Berserker when he did go back to base. And so far, so good for Golden Guardians. So I expected there to be, you know, more pressure kind of put on them, but we'll see. With Blaber pathing down towards bot, you know, if they can start to kind of farm away on some of these plates.
Fudge teleporting back to lane now. Olleh considering taking his back as well. So that jungle pressure ushering over towards this bot side. Pridestalker was also keeping an eye on that mid lane for a moment before going to clear in his jungle, wanting to get to 6 as soon as possible.
Exactly. I mean, Pridestalker, he'll take a gank if it's a really easy one, but largely all you want to do is power farm, right? And Cloud9 can kind of play without respect to the jungler because of that. Sometimes it kind of goes, you know, like full circle where they're paying so little respect that you can get off those ganks. But generally speaking, you know, Cloud9 pushing in, you use the traps on one side, you throw down the Loosen Singularity on the other side. It makes it very difficult to actually avoid these skill shots. You can't farm from the other side, so, well, guess what? Lux's E covers that entire left side of the tower. And this is kind of how this is played. You stack the wave, you push it in, you put down your traps, you put down your E, and you start to farm those plates. And they already got their first plate there. Lost has done a great job farming, so he's not falling far behind as far as that goes, but we'll see how much more Cloud9 can get on that bottom side as they, again, taking Dragon pretty much right on spawn. Same thing that they did last time around. Of course, last time, Pridestalker between the first and the second Dragon was able to get some kills, and that allowed them to take a Dragon back and kind of slow that snowball. We'll see if something similar happens here because, again, there's pressure on Pridestalker as soon as he hits 6 to be the one to create early action for them. No one else really can do it.
Yeah, level 5 right about now, so still waiting to hit that control ward here. So Summit not entirely aware of who is in the vicinity, but he's near his turret. He's feeling pretty safe
wrap around
about
for a
it.
dive, maybe.
Yeah, coming on through. So Pridestalker just making sure to clear out all the while, and Blaber is coming from base right now. He is going over towards his top side, maybe aware of the fact that Pridestalker has made his rotation and follow up if need be.
Pridestalker very close to 6. I think he'll get 6 off Scuttle, and then they could look for some sort of a play up towards Summit. You know, Summit has the wave bouncing away from him. As he does, he's going to have to push that out and reset. Licorice is 6. Pridestalker should be 6 as long as this doesn't get stolen. So they did get eyes on it. That's actually a big deal that Fudge saw him complete that Scuttle and ding 6. That's going to trigger Summit to play a lot more defensively on that top side. But of course, we know Pridestalker is just going to bail out of the play. He'll head back towards bot, where Olleh does have sums now, so they could look for an aggressive play on that bot side if they want. My guess is Pridestalker is going to base before he actually goes for his first ulti at this point, though, because he's waiting a little bit and hasn't had a chance to actually go back and spend all that gold.
You know, while you're trying to effort as much as possible to hit 6 soon, it doesn't mean you got to go for the play right after. Make sure you're still making the smart move, and you have to like that tempered kind of approach from Golden Guardians, whereas in game number 1, maybe at times it meant that they weren't able to find windows to bring back in, but here it's a good call.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you want to make sure that your first ult is as powerful as possible. They're trying to threaten it, of course, sweeping out the lane brush there. But Blaber has the read that, okay, Nocturne didn't ult top. He could be down here. So Blaber is trying to ghost this lane, you know, hide behind them, just be ready in case that ultimate does come through. Of course, it does not, but it gives Berserker and Isles the safety to push out that lane. You know, we saw those early game ultimates were not able to be counter-ganked, you know, by Blaber last time around, but we saw what happened in the later stages when he was there. You know, it can turn very bad very fast if you're forcing a hard engage into a Lee Sin who's waiting for you. Cloud9 gonna swap. They're gonna look to try to make a play towards Herald, likely just send Summit down towards bot. He's going to answer that. And with the faster reset here, yeah, you're gonna lose a wave bot for doing this, but they're gonna look to start up Herald. But Golden Guardians are just going to skip their own base. So they're going to skip the base and just roam up towards top with their bot lane. So it could be a full-on brawl potentially here, but Cloud9 obviously a lot faster to start this one up. We'll just see if Golden Guardians is willing to scrap. They're positioning like they are, though. I mean, they have mid-push.
They've committed so much of their movement right now as it is, and Isles, a nice thing about Lux, you can poke effectively, but here the ultimate starts to come through. Ornn thrown back, the Paranoia right into the back line, but Blaber goes for it. Berserker's marked down low, kicking Pridestalker away so that he can't have more of an impact. He falls, but it is after one is taken down. Berserker for Pridestalker traded for the moment being. Herald still up.
Yeah, no one going to be actually going right back onto the Herald because it did leash. It is just the 1-for-1 trade, so very even here. Overall, Caitlyn getting a kill, I think, you know, you're going to be pretty happy about that one, but it is both sums down, where the GG bot lane didn't actually spend a lot of their summoners, so they could potentially look to punish this. We can watch this one more time. Positioning a little bit awkward, as they weren't fully committed to it. They didn't have Ornn with them, so Berserker's kind of just stuck in that choke. He does get tagged by the ulti, Cleanse flashes back. It looks like he was going to survive, but the burn there, from the true damage from the smite, taking him down just barely.
Just enough to get the job done.
Pretty much last tick, it looked like. It was really, really close to him surviving.
But all the while, even though no one went for Herald directly after it was the 1-for-1 kill, Golden Guardian's goal was just to get Cloud9 off of that and continue to keep this at a close game. That was achieved. The gold lead is minimal for Cloud9. A lot of even scoring between the CS across these lanes and waiting for that next moment to pounce.
And you can see how defensively Summit was actually playing. You know, he's just backing off the wave. He sees Jhin top, and he is just backing off. He's pinging assist. He's saying, all right, they could be topside. Nocturne could be up here. They could be trying to stack a wave to dive. On the other side, Cloud9 trying to push this in. Blaber's going to come. As soon as that Shroud goes away, they're going to look to dive.
Dive attempted here. Licorice is the subject of it all. Gets blasted pretty low down. Blaber gets the kill credit. Effective use from Cloud9 in the dive.
Yeah, that was really well played. Just waiting out Licorice's cooldowns there. As soon as that Shroud expires, they go in for the dive. He didn't have the safety. They hold their spells. They get the kill. It doesn't even cost them Blaber's ultimate. It's a very clean dive. It will be first tower, though, up on the top side. Cloud9 are not going to outrace this Herald, I don't think, as that crash should mean first tower gold goes over their way. going in the pockets there of Lost is really nice. The only kind of bad thing for them is it's more okay for Ornn to give up the farm than it is for Gwen, because Gwen needs to be a threat. Gwen needs to be that side lane pressure for Golden Guardians. You can team fight with her, of course, but really that's not why you're drafting the Gwen. So Licorice kind of getting the bad end of that deal has fallen behind in the one for one.
But Golden Guardians do get a second charge on that Rift Herald onto the tier 2 turret top, so something else that they were able to garner from that aspect. And now it's still time where that Drake is up. Only the single one taken by Cloud9 earlier. We're still fairly early. Fudge is going in for it, though. Has Blaber by his side with a safeguard. Paranoia coming in from Pridestalker. Gets a nice dip of damage. Oh, Olleh survives. Fudge still wants to go for it with the distortion, and Olleh has come from the river side to manage to secure the kill onto Blaber. Gets the credit for himself. 3 remaining on each team here in the mid lane, and the disengage to follow.
Yeah, great kick there from Blaber. Angling it, waiting out the spell shield, and then kicking Nocturne through AblazeOlive. Meant Fudge to go in, finish off that kill. Yes, it is a 1-for-1, but Cloud9 get the bigger kill, and it is with the expense of the Nocturne ulti, which is such a long cooldown. But again, Golden Guardians trying to take this second dragon. They do kill off the enemy jungler. Pridestalker still on the map here, but Ornn is moving up and they're TPing Fudge back.
He has ult, and he activates it right there. And before you can even hit the ground, Pridestalker is taken out. The curtain has been called and opened up to get a return onto Berserker. But Cloud9 on the retreat. They can't get away fast enough. Isles eliminated. Fudge and Blaber are here for the party, though. Olleh tries to create as much distance as possible. Licorice by his side. W just missing from Lost onto Summit, who gets into the bush for some safety.
The fight just doesn't end, and now it's Cloud9's turn to try to go for a chase here onto Lost. There's no tower available for him, but we'll be able to get out of there. And things are going to calm down. Cloud9 can look for this dragon again, but they need to get Summit back to base, get his health back, and back out here on the map. Very even back and forth game here. These two teams scrapping. Cloud9 go for the aggressive play here, but again, the quick response comes through. Pridestalker ults in, he waits out the spell shield, knocks it off, then gets the kick onto AblazeOlive, who flashes back. Fudge has the flash to store follow. Gorgiger there, almost enough on the bottom side of your screen to keep Blaber alive, but it does end up being that 1-for-1. And then back to this fight, where critically, Berserker did not have his sum, so even though they kill off Pridestalker very early, they kind of get trapped here against the wall. Olleh comes through. They're getting sniped down by the Jhin. Berserker has no flash, has no cleanse, can't get out of there. So as AblazeOlive arrives, him and the Gwen able to chase him down, get multiple kills. We are right back to it. Cloud9 during that replay do grab the dragon. So a quick second dragon for them is going to be really good things. Ocean Soul would be fantastic for this comp, not only for the poke, but when you have a tank on your team like Ornn, you're going to get huge value out of that healing in any fight.
Really close fight, though. Really close fight. And even when you have an Ornn on C9's side, you can see the value of something like the curtain call, right? Being able to offer that firepower from the outskirts of the fight is something that Golden Guardians can capitalize upon later on.
It can be really powerful, but I think a lot of the reason they got value there was Ornn wasn't around, right? If Ornn is there and can block those shots, it can be very difficult. You've got to be able to punch through that front line, which is going to be the Viktor's job here. There's no one else really that can just kind of focus down Summit very, very easily in these fights. Jhin traditionally very poor against pure tanks, so you're gonna have to have a good game here as AblazeOlive if you want to be that frontline threat. But so far, so good. The bot lane went relatively even, all things considered. Lost and Olleh, I think, did a good job surviving what is a pretty difficult matchup against this Lux plus Caitlyn. They did take some plates, but farm stayed very even.
The plates are almost expected, and you're saying, it's all right, as long as we're even on the rest. There wasn't any real prioritization from jungle to try and snowball in that way for the additional kills. So Golden Guardians can take that grace with them into the rest of this game, because at 15 minutes, still fairly even between the two dragons, still stacking in the favor of Cloud9, though, which means they'll be the ones that can usher towards the soul point if they need to, but they can also afford to give it up as well.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a really good cross-map trade, if you can get a lot of gold, maybe you give up that third dragon, but I think Cloud9 want to play for it. Their comp is so well set up. As long as they are first to the dragon, you create the trap line, you have the Lux the zone. If people try to funnel through a corridor, well, it's very difficult against the Ornn ulti, against the Lee Sin kick. You're kind of just naturally stacking up for a lot of those. I'm expecting Cloud9 to try to play for it, but no guarantees. It's just something that forces your opponents to come to you, and that's, I think, really good for their comp. Where Licorice wants more time in side lane, still doesn't have the Mythic, will have that completed before the next dragon, but still feels like he's kind of behind the pace of the game.
So would you be too worried about that right now with it being even? Do you think, oh, never mind, we've got this fight coming on through. Paranoia right into the back. Isles is eliminated before he can get that final spark off. And Berserker, some nice hits from his Olleh, but Olive actually on the side getting targeted here by Fudge. Rooted by the chains. Blaber takes his reign right to him for the kill. 1-for-1 trade.
Fudge landing that chain, getting a trade back. C9 lose Isles very early on here, but you know, it's a really low value kill. If you spend a lot of resources on it, Cloud9 can go aggressive afterwards, and you saw Berserker fully confident to just go in on them. Using the Gale Force aggressively there, Cloud9 piling in to try to get the counter kill, are able to do it. A very even game number 2 so far, but it does feel like Cloud9 are the ones in the driver's seat with these couple dragons, and it's going to be Herald here for Blaber, which is just going to help them even more for this next dragon. You can drop Herald, mid right before dragon does spawn, and really look to utilize that to draw Golden Guardians away from it and collect your potential soul point.
When the game is fairly even, things like the Herald can feel all that much more impactful, because you really are just waiting for that next moment to crack something open, and that is one way to do so. Continuation of Licorice and Summit spending their time down here bot, because Licorice does still want to get as effective as he can for the latter portions of the game, facing off against Summit.
But
Fudge
it's Fudge here. They're gonna go.
Following up on the Ornn, knock up here, throws down the mist, but it can't save you now, my friend. Fudge gets the kill credit on that one.
Nicely done. Fudge being really proactive on this LeBlanc, moving down towards bot side. And Summit, well played with the ultimate, gets inside the shroud for the redirect, knocks up Licorice, who was trying to create enough space that he could, get some benefit from that shroud with the ghost. But him going down, losing the ultimate does hurt quite a lot. For their chances at this next dragon. They're going to lose pressure. They're going to have their side lanes pushed in. And Summit will head up towards top. Does have his TP, so not going to join the team just yet. But now Cloud9 TP's Fudge back in. He has his Blighting Jewel. And they're just going to drop Herald mid as expected. Use this to try to get pressure. Ulti even just used there for poke onto Lost as they're trying to create this zone of control.
Olleh was locked down for a moment and the final spark came through, but he was able to release just in time, so he didn't get too low in HP, joining the rest of GG so they can take down this Herald before it gets another charge. And Cloud9, that is a very classic play, right? Yep, you get some damage on that turret, you try to push this wave up, you know that Drake is spawning in 2 seconds, so the more pressure you can get on those waves, on those lanes, the higher priority you have on this Drake right now.
And you kind of just look at this line, right? They have a line of traps here, you have to walk through this area, but it makes your approach very difficult. You only have one space, and now Cloud9 are all gonna group up in this zone and harass them as they try to walk through. They already forced out the shroud from Licorice. Loosen Singularity, you have to walk through.
The response to the changes for Olleh to go in and see if they can get a turn on this. It's good to get that kill onto Fudge, but now Dragon pulled out of it. The Ornn finally blown through, gets the knockup onto Olive, hugging the wall as it is.
Oh, he stole it!
Ron taking that Dragon for the side of Golden Guardians, and the curtain call manages to push him off with the bullets. Golden Guardians doing well.
Really well done there by Golden Guardians. It's a difficult approach, but they spot Fudge off to the side. They hard engage on the LeBlanc, and they just blow him up, straight up. Gets deleted with that Nocturne. Olleh going in as well, and then the steal from Pridestalker. It's a difficult one to do against Blaber, who's so good on those Smites of Curious and playing Lee Sin. That completely changes the game because that buys them a lot more time to play through sides, to create advantages, to get this Viktor towards some more items as well. So it's a big steal.
Yeah, game 2, definitely a pretty close one here, really through and through.
And we can watch this one more time. So just spotting him on the side, just very well played by Olleh. Flashes in for the Q, doesn't actually go for the ulti first. If he goes for the ulti first, Fudge can react to that with a distortion or a flash of his own. But the flash Q there, point blank, stuns him up. They all coordinate to burst him down. And then the smite here, I think Blaber just ever so slightly early smited that. It looked like I couldn't even see how low it got, but it was incredibly low. Both junglers basically smiting at the same time. Pridestalker coming away with the victory in that one, and does have an early GA, so they're going to be set up well for this next potential fight here also, if they can find it. Cloud9, though, trying to collect this mid-tower gold. After that previous Herald charge, it is very low, but just not feeling safe enough to walk up and actually start hitting it, knowing that Nocturne could have ulti again.
Over 20 minutes at that point. We know the paranoia on our side, at least, that it is up, and now GG want to creep through as much as possible, executing it right now to burn down onto Isles. No support here. Summit teleports in, gets caught by the solar flare. The GA popping here on the opposite side. The Ornn finally called on through, but as soon as it goes through, Pridestalker blasted by one. Berserker killing off Olleh. Cloud9 are still in this, having taken 3 down. Still only a support short. Licorice with the needlework into the backline, but he can't find it onto Berserker. He ends up falling, so Cloud9, they take the fight, going over towards Baron.
That was such a fast teleport there from Summit. Had the read that it was coming through, the insta teleport. And yes, Isles does go down, but again, you lose your GA for it. Cloud9 piles in. They spent so many spells to kill off this Lux. The remaining 4 crush through the fight, and Cloud9 gonna claim the Baron, and just like that, off one team fight, secure themselves a massive lead.
The deception of a focus on a Lux. You think, oh, there's so much else going on here. And
wait, does he go for that? Oh, okay. It's getting a little bit risky now. It's getting a little bit risky now. Okay. Here's making me nervous. That's one of those ones with the tower, you're like, I think I could one-shot that tower, and you're wrong, and then you start sweating, because you know, if you get bound up there, you are gonna die, and you are gonna look really silly. Oh, good sidestep.
A lot of dodges happening here.
A lot of required dodges as well. Yeah, dodging the embarrassment, dodging the hate threads on Reddit, you know?
Now all of a sudden, when we were talking about, oh, there's less than a 1K difference between these teams. They're so close,
3K.
but Cloud9 off of that
Berserker.
3K lead. Still have the Baron buff in full tow here. They should be able to finally finish off this mid turret.
Yeah, and I mean, they're pushing in top as well. You know, they're just gonna look to grab the easy outers. They don't want to overextend here, and there's not really any reason to. You have those upgraded mythics coming through. Of course, Forge Fire Crest already coming through. The Typhoon gonna be upgraded as well there for Berserker. And Summit has a fair bit of experience, and gonna be working towards 15. Upgrade Fudge next, you would assume. They should lose their mid lane tower because it's like one auto, but there is potential to try to punish this if Golden Guardians do overextend. You know, either through a tier 2 take top, which looks like it's going to be the answer.
Summit hovering through, throws down the ults. There's still a bit of time, nearly a full minute on the clock before that Drake, so you can afford to use it.
They're just pushing top, so they're actually just trying to harass them there. I think Summit's basically trying to bluff, saying, hey, look out, it's Ornn ulti, we're all here. But, you know, of course, some of the vision was shown on top side. They do trade the tier 2 top for it, so a lot of gold there. 5K now in the advantage. They will reset and get ready for this dragon, trying to move again towards Soul Point. Fudge gonna early TP in. They want to really just battled out for vision. But the itemization is just such a problem when you're comparing, you know, these marksmen. It's a full IE ahead, basically. Plus he has the additional 1K gold, essentially, you know, from the Ornn upgraded item. So that difference between these marksmen is just enormous.
And that lead of that gold for the team overall, and then even using the teleport to get here first, means that they can push up. They have enough of a scary factor where no one on Golden Guardian's side can afford to step up on them when they don't have that vision for themselves. So we're likely to see a similar setup before, using the traps, using all of this funneling so that they can take this down. But Golden Guardians, they don't even want that beef. They give it on over for Soul Point to be achieved by Cloud9.
Yeah, they're just gonna give it up. I think it's the right call. You know, they have no setup, they have no vision, and Cloud9 still has the Baron buff, which is, you know, a lot of extra combat power. So gonna pay respect to that. Does mean it's an instant push down towards this tier 2. Cloud9 will get this as well. AblazeOlive is on top side. So with him pushing out top, you already know Golden Guardians aren't looking to contest any outer towers. So Cloud9, very effective Baron buff power play. About 4K in their advantage, and they claim another dragon here. So Golden Guardian's gonna have to try to find the moan from the crowd. We've all been there.
Love the
but sometimes you know, that miss cannon, when you have a bad game, the miss cannon is really, I'll text you like, yep, okay, I'm done with this one. FF.
Yep, please.
Get me out.
Let the cannon live.
Yeah.
Never again. But you were just saying, if you're looking at Golden Guardians and what they need to do, stabilize, bring this through for an overall victory.
Pick on Fudge would be nice.
Yeah.
We'll see. Not going to be able to do it. But yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? You know, I think they have to try to play through sides. You're playing with Nocturne and Gwen. It's going to be difficult to just do a front-to-back, you know, team fight. You can try to just dive in. You turn off the lights. You look for some sort of a flank with the Gwen. You know, create that chaos. It can be, you know, it can look like it's easy to respond to when we're watching on Spectator, but when Nocturne ult comes through and you have no idea where the flank is coming from, that's one of the things that really enables flanking top laners. So if Gwen could have a good position, if you find that engage from Olleh, Jhin ult comes over top, Gwen's coming from behind, Nocturne's diving in, you get an early kill on someone like Berserker, your tides can change, pretty quickly in a game like this. But, barring something like that, I think it's very difficult, because if Cloud9 are given this next 3 minutes to just chill, to have the proper setup, to deny any sort of, deep wards for TPs, then there's not really a lot of angles for them to play from, because if you're looking at the map, there's literally not a Golden Guardians ward on this entire side of the map. They have nothing, right? Like, they have no vision at all. They have a little bit of warding up towards topside just to protect their jungle camps. But Baron's going to be up here, and it seems like that's what they want to try to play towards, is they're less worried about the soul, and they're more worried about this Baron coming up in about a minute.
A hesitancy to step up into the alternative portions of the map when Cloud9 was pushing through with that Baron buff, just lost time in being able to control these areas. Yeah, maybe you get the anxiety as high as it can go with the red screen of a paranoia. Is that what it is? Raise that blood pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you gotta get them sweating and try to put Cloud9 out of their comfort zone, because they have been looking really, really strong through these last 2 games. This is, I think, what people would have told you the series would look like if you rewind, 3 weeks ago or so. But Cloud9, 2-3 in their last 5 in the LCS regular season, then got 3-0 last week. It started to have people questioning themselves and kind of questioning this team of, can they really make it work? Is it so easy to take down Cloud9 as just banning out a couple top lane champions? Very clearly, no. Cloud9 has at least made that adaptation. They're bringing out the Ornn, they're bringing out the GP, so some different picks from Summit. And I think he's looked great on all of them, on both of these games. Has been really, really effective.
And not just being effective on the pick, but then noticing the opportunities when they're there. We've seen times where Fudge and Blaber hovering around him and having that confidence that he'll be able to land his knock-up, that he can follow up in a way that they can turn into these small wins across.
I mean, credit to Fudge. Fudge has been a monster in these last 2 games. Was huge on the Viktor, having another very good LeBlanc game, 2 very different styles of champions. Oh, he might find the pick here, potentially.
Oh, Solar Flare into the back. There's a Paranoia. The target is here onto the support, but Licorice is here to follow Olleh, getting marked down low alongside Pridestalker, the Chaos Storm, following through, so Fudge flashes over the wall. There's the curtain call, but has to get out of it early because the way the rest of the fight came down. 2 down for Cloud9, though. Golden Guardians on top in this fight, but they lost their top laner, and they're timid on the rest. Yeah,
they're not going to be able to continue pushing forward here as Fudge, Blaber, Summit's still really strong and very healthy. You look over at Pridestalker, he has to retreat. He's very low, so they don't want to overextend here, pile in and get burst down by Fudge. They do go +1 though, and critically they force both the sums off the entire Cloud9 bot lane. So again, Berserker's very vulnerable now. You're gonna have the Nocturne ulti up before any of those summoners are up and available for Berserker. This fight they actually went for Isles first, but next fight I think you just go straight for Berserker, and that's why he's purchased up the stopwatch here, trying to play it safe.
And the Gale Force active is down for Berserker currently, so outside of a little bit of the displacement from a 90 caliber net, that's the thing about Caitlyn, just a lot more vulnerable to be dove upon by things like a Nocturne ultimate. And once that threat is out, then you're worrying more about Fudge, which was zoned off by that Chaos Storm during that last fight too, so
Blaber.
Trying to target right.
Yeah, he's not gonna take that, all right. Getting a little bit of poke down though. Oh my God!
Oh!
A lot of bit of poke, okay. Just 100 to 0.
Where'd you go, Olleh? Where are you gonna go, Lost? Now the curtains finally dropped on the eyes of Cloud9, but can you follow up on it? That's a good blast onto Berserker. You take out that ADC like you've been planning the entire time. Licorice right here in the back alongside Olleh to make sure you have some security. 3 lost for Golden Guardians, but they take down that bot lane once more. Blaber continuing off of the queue, but he's there with Summit too. Fudge is here on the pathway as well, but Licorice and Olive, they have some vision accorded to them and are hoping to just duck out of their No, they go on back. Blaber blasting down. Fudge getting the credit for that one. And now Licorice, he's wanting to maybe take somebody down with and throws down the needlework. The Herald missed right here to keep some kind of security, but it's not enough. Taken down, double for Fudge.
Back-to-back knockups there from Summit, leading to the 2 kills for Fudge. Cloud9 will claim Soul, full control here in game number 2. Really strong skirmishing from the squad. It's just the sacrificial bot lane every single fight. It feels like Berserker and them are going down. I thought this was just going to be a little bit of poke, but the chain connects. 500 on the chain proc there, by the way. A lot of damage coming through, and then again, Fudge piling forward. Berserker in there as well, but Berserker using the 90 caliber net aggressive says, Golden Guardians, let's go. They get in onto the back line. Licorice and AblazeOlive, the soul laners, roasting through this Cloud9 bot lane, killing them off very quickly, but then it is them in a 2v3 with no jungler and soul on the map, so they had to try to fight their way out of this. But it's a really good knockup from Summit. AblazeOlive, I think he played this very, very well, but he just overestimated his positioning there as back to live. Cloud9 on Baron.
Oh, the immediate response from the Zenith Blade of Olleh means that Fudge can retreat towards the rest of the team. Use the paranoia here just to get them off.
That's a problem, though. Matter. Exactly. As soon as you expend that, yes, you make Ornn miss his ulti because he can't see anything, but you need paranoia to be able to teamfight as the Nocturne, and now Fudge zoning on the side, and they have soul. They can keep going here.
Just look at that burst, though. Olive about to get toasted. Manages to escape Cloud9, though. The zoning is all they needed. They take the Baron again in this game.
I mean, there's no Nocturne ulti, and he has no flash, and there's an entire trap line. You just can't walk into the pit and steal it. You're going to get stopped, and Fudge has just been so threatening, putting him down to about 10% HP there for AblazeOlive. Yes, he survives, but now Tier 2 going down here. Licorice just going to try to cut the wave, and they do kill off the cannon, so he's cutting the wave, so they do deny that mid lane push, but Fudge has top lane buffed up, and they're just going to shift over here.
So many times where that Ray lands onto Olive and he's taken out of it. That's the knockup sidestep by Olive, though. They do take the turret. They are going for the inhib. Blaber is going aggressively. Olleh trying to get out of it, and now the inhibitor is gone. Golden Guardian still standing strong, and they have the fountain right there for the additional healing if needed. Lost having to consider doing so.
Over.
Yeah, in the end, Cloud9, they're focusing onto the turrets. What are you gonna do? They're coming right now. Olive circling around to try and go down low. Paranoia, curtain open, knockups galore, but Pridestalker into the back line. Pop. Is he gonna finish it off onto Cloud9 here? Licorice and AblazeOlive still standing, and Lost is zoned off by Summit, so he can't join the rest of the team. Everyone from Cloud9 is still healthy, and Fudge finds one. Licorice here, separated, Lost into the fountain he goes, but Cloud9 know the Nexus is at their disposal. They continue to apply the pressure and bring the sweat to the brows of Golden Guardians. A final hit will do it. Victory in game 2.
Match point for Cloud9. Back-to-back dominant wins here. Very even in the early game. But again, Cloud9 just out-skirmishing, out-team fighting. They seem to get more out of these 3v3s, out of these 5v5s in this early mid-game stage. It's allowing them to use their bot pressure, take these dragons, stack it up. And I'm so impressed by how Fudge is playing. I think a lot of the story is of course about Summit, based on the rough set of games he had against 100 Thieves. People very interested to see how you perform today. Great in back-to-back games. GP, check. Ornn, check. But Fudge has been a monster carry. Like, he had to be as well, because Golden Guardians had a really good comp to actually punish the Caitlyn and the Lux. Caitlyn was dead in every single team fight. Golden Guardians were getting to backline and killing off Berserker, which meant some heavy lifting has to be done by Fudge. 9-1-7 in the LeBlanc. He was incredible in the Viktor as well. He is just looking so good across this series so far, and Golden Guardians going to have to go back to the drawing board now. Nocturne not working in back-to-back games. Maybe they have to shift up the bans. Maybe they have to change what side they're playing from, because it's looking tough.
And the draft was a bait. Let me dangle a Caitlyn and a Lux in your face. Throw a LeBlanc your way. Throw an Ornn right in front of you and see what we can make happen with it. With a dominant game 2 under